Hi everybody, Jeff Hopper back with Jeff Cranford. We have one more conversation to have about this season. This particularly, we moved from Christmas to New Year's, and so we're going to talk about that a little bit.
Perfect.
Jeff, here's a kind of an interesting question. You're in the middle of a disappointing round of golf. Ever been there?
I can't, none come to mind, but.
Well, a lot of them come
kidding,
to mind
I'm kidding.
for me.
Yeah.
But always in the middle of that round, I have to decide. Do I stick with my routine,
Right.
hope it kicks back in, or do I say, this round's pretty much gone, let's try something different and see if that works?
Yeah.
When do I make that decision?
You know, it's such a good question, and I know that most experts and some of the great players in the world would say you just stick to routine. You stick to your pre-shot routine, you go in, you think target, you focus, you execute without thinking about mechanics and all that. And you know, Pia Nilsson, I know, used to say with Annika Sorenstam, you know, you cross this line, and once you cross that line, you just go straight into, you're not thinking about swing and all that. That's all fine and dandy, but if you're hitting it everywhere, the reality is that at some point you start messing with your grip a little bit,
Right.
maybe mess with your club
That's what
face
I
a little
mean.
bit. And I, to be honest with you, I think it's a combination of the two. It personally, now some would maybe dispute that, but I think there are places where, look, if the ball's starting left, you know your club face is closed, you get some feedback out there. Then why is my club face closed? Is it a path issue? Am I stopping my chest and the club's flipping? Is my club a little shut at address? Is my grip a little too strong? I think you have to be able to make those kind of nuanced adjustments. Nicklaus, I think, was the best of all time, and he just adjusted to what he had, and he could make in-round adjustments that were, you know, very, very helpful. So, but having said that, you don't want to be the Mr. Experiment guy, which you went out there with 10 swings that day and nothing really worked, and you just went from bad to worse.
Yeah.
So to me, it's a balance of both. I know that may seem like I'm hedging, but I think it's right. I think it's right.
Okay. New Year's is an arbitrary date.
Mm-hmm.
We have the same picture behind us that we had the last 2 weeks.
Right.
Because winter hasn't gone away. There's maybe nothing dramatic outside to say
Yeah.
things are changing, but we've picked this date. And a lot of people will say, oh, now's the time to reset, to do new things in my life. As followers of Christ, we're kind of used to resetting.
Yes.
There are times when we say, this is not right in my life. I need to be doing something different. How do I know when it's time to do that?
Well, I think that's a good question. It always starts with the ultimate reset. And the ultimate reset, and Jesus used language only once, but he used this language with Nicodemus, being born again. Well, that's an ultimate reset.
Yes.
A man must be born again. Of course, they were thinking physiologically, how does a man enter his mother's womb again? He said, no, it's a spiritual reset. And in fact, God had prophesied this in advance. If you go back to Exodus chapter 12, for instance, it says, now the Lord said to Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, you know, when they were about to lead the children of Israel out, this month shall be the beginning of months for you. It is to be the first month of the year to you. Now that's a reset. And for them, then it would become Passover, and it was actually
Right.
a prophetic shadowing of the new birth. But in following Jesus, I think there need to be consistent resets throughout your spiritual walk. And I think that's probably one of the biggest challenges for the church in the West, is that we've tended to preach a gospel that says you have one reset and now you're going to heaven and not going to hell, and you just kind of return to your kingdom, when in fact, all along the way, God is asking us to die to a particular way we think about something or something. Paul actually used the language of, I die daily. And I think if you were to
Right.
translate that, you could in some ways say, I have to reset constantly. I have to go and say, Father, would you forgive me for that? 1 John 1, 8 and 9, you know, just to ask the Lord to forgive you, and he is faithful to forgive you and cleanse you. There's an ongoing process by which we constantly have to reset and find our way. And the epicenter of that, Jeff, is to recognize that we've been called in this life to be conformed
Yes.
to the image of Jesus. That's going to necessitate seasonally, okay, now I've really got to work on this. Now, if God poured all the things on me that I needed to change in my personality and my character and and he dumped all that on me at one time, I would just wither under that.
Absolutely.
And one of the beauties in culture, and we talk a lot about this as well in some of our teams, is that we want to protect each other in our weaknesses and then really encourage each other in their strengths, knowing that there will be a reset down the road. The Lord will work with that man or that woman in his weakness, but let's not constantly judge one another, realizing that we're all in need of constant resetting. And can we love imperfect people? Of course we can, because Christ lives in us, and he loves me, and I am an imperfect person.
Yeah. I think of Jesus' talk of pruning unto fruitfulness. Pruning is an annual event.
It is an annual event.
You go in.
That's exactly right.
The farmer goes in and prunes every year, training that plant to a new thing each time for greater fruitfulness.
Absolutely. And I think it was Owen, one of the great Puritan writers, who said, "Never is the husbandman so close to the vine as when he pruneth it." So God, in those places where he disciplines those, and the Bible says he disciplines those he loves. In other words, he gives them a place to reset. He's very near in those times as well. So sometimes we may feel far away, but God is actually very near in the disciplining process.
Right. I would encourage you at this time of year, so often we come up with our ideas of how we get renewed, to let the vine dresser do the renewing and just submit to the Lord and see what he has for you in this year to come. We're excited for 2018. We hope you are in your life too.
We sure are.
God bless you.